Understanding cortisol and weight gain. You're doing everything right. You eat clean. You work out consistently. You track your calories, hit your protein, and avoid junk food. And yet, the scale will not move. Or worse, it's creeping up. If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. This is not a willpower problem. There's a hormone that quietly overrides fat loss, even when your diet and exercise are on point. And that hormone is cortisol. Cortisol doesn't care how clean you eat. It doesn't care how hard you train. If it's dysregulated, your body will hold on to weight as a survival strategy. In this video, we're breaking down the cortisol weight gain connection, in plain language, and more importantly, how to fix it without burning yourself out even more. Let me introduce you to Sarah. She is a high-performing professional. She meal preps. She strength trains. She rarely misses a workout. But she's also constantly stressed and faces with deadlines, family responsibilities, poor sleep. Always on. Despite doing everything she's told, her weight is stuck, especially around her midsection. Doctors tell her to eat less or exercise more. But here's the truth. Sarah doesn't have a discipline problem, she has a cortisol problem. Her body is stuck in survival mode. And when survival is the priority, fat loss is not. This story is incredibly common, especially among driven, motivated people who are already doing all the right things. To understand why this happens, we need to talk about what cortisol actually does, and what happens when stress never shuts off. What is cortisol? Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but that's an oversimplification. Cortisol is actually a survival hormone. It's produced by your adrenal glands and helps you wake up in the morning, regulate blood sugar, control inflammation, respond to short-term stress in a healthy system. Cortisol follows a rhythm. It's highest in the morning to get you moving. Then it gradually declines throughout the day. This rhythm is essential. Cortisol becomes a problem only when stress is chronic, not occasional. Your body doesn't distinguish between a work deadline, skipping meals, overtraining, emotional stress, poor sleep to your nervous system. It's all stress. And when stress never resolves, cortisol stops behaving normally, and weight loss stalls. Chronic stress and high cortisol. In the early stages of chronic stress, cortisol often runs too high. This happens when your body perceives constant threat, even if that threat is psychological, such as emails, news, work pressure, perfectionism. High cortisol signals danger. And when danger is present, your body does two things: raises blood sugar for quick energy, stores fat to prepare for future stress. This is why dieting harder often backfires. Calorie restriction itself is a stressor. So is excessive cardio. So is under-eating protein. The body's message is simple: we are not safe. Do not burn stored energy. This is why stressed people often feel like they're fighting their own bodies. Because they are hormonal. High cortisol symptoms and weight gain. When cortisol stays high, very specific patterns appear. First, belly fat. Cortisol preferentially drives fat storage around the abdomen because visceral fat has more cortisol receptors. Second, muscle breakdown. Cortisol breaks down muscle tissue to raise blood sugar, slowing metabolism over time. Third, sugar and carb cravings. Cortisol spikes blood sugar, then drops it, creating intense cravings for quick fuel. Fourth, poor sleep. High cortisol at night makes it hard to fall asleep or stay asleep, worsening the cycle. This is why people with high cortisol can eat clean, exercise regularly, still feel inflamed, exhausted, and stuck. The body isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do under perceived threat. Scene 6. Low cortisol and HPA axis dysfunction. Now here's the part most people don't hear about. After prolonged high stress, cortisol can eventually swing too low. This is often called HPA axis dysfunction, sometimes labeled adrenal fatigue. At this stage, the system is burned out. Symptoms look different. Extreme fatigue, trouble getting out of bed, exercise intolerance, dizziness, brain fog, crashing after workouts. Weight loss is still stalled, but for a different reason. Now the body lacks the cortisol needed to mobilize energy efficiently. Exercise feels exhausting instead of energizing. Even healthy stress becomes too much. This is why pushing harder is the worst thing you can do in burnout. The strategy must change based on the pattern. How to test cortisol. One morning blood cortisol test tells us very little. Cortisol is a rhythmic hormone. We need to see how it behaves across the day. The most helpful tests include 4-point salivary cortisol, morning, noon, evening, night, budge test, which measures cortisol metabolites and rhythm. These tests help identify high cortisol, low cortisol, flattened rhythms, stress at the wrong time of day. This matters because treatment for high cortisol is very different from treatment for low cortisol. Guessing leads to frustration. Testing leads to targeted, effective strategies. Stress management that works. Let's be honest. Telling stressed people to just relax doesn't work. Effective stress regulation must be physiological, not just mental. What actually helps? Eating enough, especially protein and carbohydrates, blood sugar stability to prevent cortisol spikes, boundaries around overtraining, sunlight exposure in the morning to reset circadian rhythm. Nervous system regulation is key. That includes slow breathing, gentle walks, somatic practices, short, consistent recovery breaks. These signals tell your body, we're safe now. Safety is what allows fat loss to resume. Weight loss does not happen in chaos. It happens in regulation. Solution: sleep, exercise and support. Sleep is non-negotiable for cortisol repair. Late nights raise cortisol the next day, even with perfect nutrition. Exercise matters too, but timing and intensity are critical. High cortisol right pointing arrow reduce HIIT, emphasize strength and walking. Low cortisol right pointing arrow prioritize rest, gentle movement, and recovery. Some people benefit from adaptogens like ashwagandha or rhodiola, but only when used appropriately and not blindly. Most importantly, focus on consistency, not intensity. Your nervous system heals through repeated signals of safety, not through punishment. Weight loss follows regulation, not the other way around. If this video resonated, you're not alone, and you're not broken. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video so you don't miss the next one. This channel is about understanding your body, not fighting it. Share this with someone who's doing everything right, but still stuck. Medical disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always work with a qualified healthcare provider for diagnosis and treatment. Your body isn't failing you. It's protecting you. And with the right approach, balance, and progress can return. Thank you for watching.